Life has a way of surprising us, doesn't it? Just when we think we have everything figured out, along comes a challenge that stops us in our tracks. Perhaps you've experienced this yourself. You're doing well at work, your family seems happy, and then suddenly you receive news that changes everything. Maybe it's a health scare, a job loss, or a relationship that falls apart. In these moments, it's natural to wonder why such things happen, especially when we're trying our best to live with faith and purpose. Many people who practice Nichiren Buddhism and believe deeply in the Gohonzon sometimes fall into a common misunderstanding. They think that having faith should act like a protective shield, keeping all troubles away. They imagine that chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo daily should guarantee smooth sailing through life. When problems inevitably arise, they feel confused, disappointed, or even betrayed. Why is this happening to me, they wonder? I've been so devoted, so sincere in my practice. Shouldn't my faith protect me from this pain? This way of thinking, while understandable, misses something profound about the nature of faith and the purpose of our Buddhist practice. Nichiren Daishonin himself faced countless hardships throughout his life. He was exiled, attacked, and constantly persecuted for sharing his teachings. Yet he never wavered in his conviction. In one of his letters, he writes, "When great evil occurs, great good follows." This wasn't just philosophical theory for him, it was lived experience. Each challenge he faced became an opportunity to demonstrate the power of the mystic law and to deepen his own understanding. The truth is that believing in the Gohonzon doesn't mean we get a free pass from life's difficulties. In fact, the Lotus Sutra teaches us something quite different. It shows us that all people, regardless of their spiritual development, will encounter obstacles and suffering. This is simply part of the human experience. What changes when we have faith isn't whether problems will come, but how we respond when they do arrive at our doorstep. Think about it this way. Imagine you're learning to drive a car. Having a skilled instructor beside you doesn't prevent you from encountering traffic jams, road construction, or bad weather. But it does mean you have guidance on how to navigate these challenges safely and confidently. The instructor doesn't eliminate the obstacles. Instead, they help you develop the skills to handle whatever the road throws at you. Faith in the Gohonzon works similarly. It doesn't remove life's bumps and curves, but it gives us the wisdom and strength to travel through them with grace and purpose. When a problem does arise in our lives, we often face a critical choice. We can allow doubt to creep in, questioning whether our faith is real or whether the Gohonzon truly has power. We might find ourselves thinking, if this practice really works, why am I going through this? Or we can choose a different path entirely. We can see the challenge as an opportunity to deepen our faith and demonstrate the true power of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. Nichiren Daishonin understood this choice intimately. During his exile to Serdo Island, facing harsh conditions and uncertain survival, he could have given up. Instead, he wrote some of his most profound letters during this period, including The Opening of the Eyes and The Object of Devotion for Observing the Mind. Rather than allowing his circumstances to diminish his faith, he used them as fuel to strengthen his resolve and deepen his understanding. He wrote to his followers, "Suffer what there is to suffer, enjoy what there is to enjoy, regard both suffering and joy as facts of life, and continue chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, no matter what happens." This attitude isn't about passive acceptance or pretending that problems don't hurt. It's about approaching challenges with what we might call faithful determination. When we chant Daimoku seriously in the face of difficulty, we're not just asking for the problem to disappear. We're tapping into something much more powerful. We're accessing the Buddha nature within ourselves, the infinite wisdom and courage that exists in every human life. The Lotus Sutra speaks of this potential in beautiful terms. In the Expedient Means chapter, it states that all people possess the Buddha nature equally. This means that even in our most troubled moments, even when we feel weakest and most confused, we have access to the same enlightened state that Shakyamuni Buddha achieved. The key is learning how to bring forth this Buddha nature through our practice, especially when we need it most. Consider the story of a woman who discovered she had a serious illness just months after beginning her Buddhist practice. At first, she felt angry and betrayed. Why now? She wondered. I just started chanting. Shouldn't I be getting benefits, not problems? A friend encouraged her to see the situation differently. Instead of viewing her illness as evidence that the practice didn't work, what if she saw it as an opportunity to prove that it did? She began chanting with renewed determination, not just asking to be healed, but asking to show actual proof of the power of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo through her experience. She chanted with the conviction that this challenge could help her develop unshakable faith. Gradually, her entire approach to the illness shifted. She found inner strength she didn't know she possessed. She began inspiring others with her positive attitude. Even her doctors commented on her remarkable spirit. By the time she fully recovered, she realized she had gained something far more valuable than just physical health. She had discovered the indestructible happiness that comes from absolute faith. This transformation illustrates what Buddhism calls changing poison into medicine, or hendoku iyaku in Japanese. It's one of the most remarkable aspects of Nichiren Buddhism. The idea isn't that we somehow convince ourselves that poison is really medicine. Rather, through the power of our faith and practice, we can actually transform negative circumstances into positive outcomes. We can use our problems as stepping stones to greater happiness and wisdom. The Lotus Sutra contains a beautiful parable that illuminates this principle. It tells of a physician whose children accidentally poison themselves while he's away. When he returns, some of the children recognize that their father can help them and eagerly take the medicine he offers. Others are so affected by the poison that they refuse the cure, believing it will harm them. The wise physician then pretends to die, knowing that only through experiencing this shock will his remaining children come to their senses and take the medicine that will save them. This story shows us that sometimes what appears to be a terrible loss or crisis can actually be the very thing that awakens us to deeper truth. The children's poisoning wasn't good in itself, but it led them to seek healing. The father's apparent death wasn't pleasant, but it motivated the confused children to finally accept help. Similarly, our problems aren't good simply because they're problems, but they can become good when they inspire us to strengthen our faith and discover capabilities we never knew we had. Nichiren Daishonin often wrote about this concept to encourage his followers who were facing persecution for their beliefs. In a letter to Shijo Kingo, one of his disciples who was having difficulties with his Lord, he wrote, "Iron, when heated in the flames and pounded, becomes a fine sword. The iron doesn't enjoy being heated and hammered, but without this process, it could never become a weapon capable of cutting through anything." Our challenges work similarly, forging our character and strengthening our faith in ways that comfortable circumstances simply cannot. The key to experiencing this transformation lies not just in enduring problems, but in how we approach them. When we chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo with the deep conviction that, through this difficulty, I can deepen my faith, something remarkable happens. We begin to see our challenges not as random misfortunes or punishments, but as opportunities for growth. We start to understand that the Gohonzon isn't failing to protect us. It's providing us with exactly the experiences we need to develop unshakable happiness. This doesn't mean we should go looking for trouble or that we should enjoy suffering. It means that when difficulties arise naturally in our lives, we can use them as fuel for our spiritual development. A student who loses a scholarship might discover an even better educational path. A person who loses their job might find their true calling in a completely different field. Someone facing relationship problems might develop the wisdom to build much healthier connections with others. The process isn't always smooth or immediate. Sometimes we have to chant through tears, doubt, and frustration. We might find ourselves questioning everything we believe. This is normal and human. Even Nichiren Daishonin acknowledged that faith can fluctuate. He wrote, "Believe in the Gohonzon, the supreme object of devotion in all of Jambudvipa. Be sure to strengthen your faith and receive the protection of Shakyamuni, many treasures, and the Buddhas of the 10 directions." Notice that he says strengthen your faith, not maintain perfect faith. This suggests that Faith is something that grows and develops over time, often through being tested. Like a muscle that gets stronger through resistance training, our faith becomes more powerful when it's challenged by real-life difficulties. Many people find that their most treasured insights and strongest convictions come not from their easiest moments, but from their hardest ones. They discover reserves of strength, wisdom, and compassion they never knew they possessed. They develop empathy for others who are struggling. They gain confidence in their ability to handle whatever life brings. Most importantly, they develop absolute trust in the power of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo to help them transform any situation. This transformation often extends beyond the individual. When we demonstrate actual proof of changing poison into medicine, we inspire others who are facing similar challenges. Our example becomes a source of hope and encouragement. In this way, our personal struggles contribute to the happiness and faith of many others. What began as a private difficulty becomes a gift that keeps giving, helping countless people strengthen their own practice and belief. The Lotus Sutra teaches that all phenomena have the potential to lead us to enlightenment. Nothing is exempt from this principle, including our most painful experiences. When we understand this deeply, we can approach problems with curiosity, rather than just dread. We can ask ourselves, what is this situation trying to teach me? How can I use this experience to grow stronger and wiser? What benefit might emerge from this challenge that I cannot yet see? This perspective doesn't minimize the reality of pain or suggest that we should be grateful for suffering itself. Rather, it recognizes that human beings have an amazing capacity to extract meaning, strength, and wisdom from even the most difficult circumstances. Through our Buddhist practice, we can accelerate and deepen this natural human ability. The proof of changing poison into medicine isn't just personal satisfaction or inner peace, though these are important. The real proof shows up in concrete ways. Health improves. Relationships become stronger. Financial situations stabilize. Career opportunities open up. But perhaps most significantly, we emerge from challenges as fundamentally different people. We're more confident, more compassionate, more resilient, and more joyful than we were before the problem arose. This is why Nichiren Daishonin could say with such certainty that when great evil occurs, great good follows. He wasn't speaking theoretically. He was sharing his lived experience and the experiences of his disciples who had practiced this principle successfully. They had learned to see every obstacle as an opportunity to demonstrate the power of the mystic law and to deepen their understanding of their own Buddha nature. When we truly embrace this approach to life's challenges, something beautiful happens. We stop being victims of circumstance and become active participants in our own transformation. We realize that no problem is too big for the power of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo to handle. We understand that every difficulty contains within it the seeds of even greater happiness and wisdom. We begin to live with unshakable confidence, knowing that whatever comes our way, we have the tools and the inner resources to not just survive, but to thrive. This is the incredible benefit of changing poison into medicine. It transforms us from people who hope to avoid problems into people who can confidently face any challenge, knowing that it will ultimately make us stronger, wiser, and happier than we were before.